Hi everyone, it's me Jo, and today I'm giving you a kind of spin on my boy makeup routine. I'm talking through my favourite tanning routine, but this is kind of my tribute to George Michael, as I said I would do in my end of year videos. I changed my setup, as you guys can probably see. You can now see that my nose is the right colour and my forehead is no longer in shadow. I'm so excited, we fixed the lights. And I've also got a different lens so you can see it more as that I would see my face, because the one I use normally zooms in and out and is a little bit kind of longer looking. So different setup. Hopefully we're going to put this in 4K if we can get it in 4K. But I wanted to just give a tribute to George Michael, as I said I would, and I wanted to show you the kind of inspiration I've been using in my boy look. Finding my boy look over the last 2 years has been a real challenge, and I tried to ask my friends to help style me. They didn't help style me because they didn't really understand what I was saying to them, and I was like, no, this style isn't going to work for me. I need something that gives, it still has a character to it. And the character that I was inspired by was actually George Michael. And if you guys have seen the picture of me like this, and there's me in fur, and then there's me as a girl in the Syrian kind of refugee tribute. Those pictures are from my book, and those were the two references I actually used for the book. And if you see through my Instagram, you go through my timeline, the kind of looks I was playing with were all those kind of aviators, the leather jackets, and all those bits and bobs, which was heavily influenced by George Michael. And this isn't a transformation, so to speak, because I feel like doing a male transformation for me is a little redundant, and I might do that for Prince, and I might do a Michael Jackson one. I've even been thinking about doing a Michael Jackson one recently. But I thought if I just give you a fresh, updated boy look, and I give some styling that gives some nudge to that direction, it will be good enough. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm so happy about the lights now. We're gonna try and stick to this as best as I can. Yeah, much happier with it. So please have a great day and enjoy the video. Okay, so let's start the skin out now. I've actually gone in with my fabulous N-Light face mask to begin with, which is fabulous. You can grab it in CVS. Secondly, I've changed my lights, as you guys can probably see, and I've got a portrait lens on my camera. So instead, I've left my whirring fan and hopefully it won't be too loud. Hopefully you guys will prefer it, because what it does is, I don't know if you guys have seen that article when you actually use like an iPhone lens as opposed to a portrait lens. Like the wider the aperture, the more pretty you look, I think is the way they kind of described it in the article. And I prefer a portrait lens because it makes my face look wider, and I prefer that. So I hope you guys have noted the difference, and this is kind of going to be the way we're going to move forward. It's not perfect in the middle of the face yet. I've still got one more light to come from above. But hey, nearly there, nearly perfected the videos. A lot of my friends have tried to encourage me to actually bring a new backdrop in and be like all glittery and crazy, but I have literally like 4 years of clean background, so I don't want to change it now, so we're just going to keep it as it is. Right, anyway, so today I don't know what I want to do with the skin. I honestly don't want to do too much to my face. I want to keep it as natural as possible. So I'm going to start just with a basic kind of grooming look to give that kind of George Michael-ish feel. It's not a George Michael transformation, it's just a feel of the look. So let's go in. I'm going to be using MAC Studio Fix. My management in Beverly Hills, I've actually just received loads of MAC because I got a gift from Nordstrom. And I bought loads and loads and loads of new foundations because I felt like I needed to top up. I'm going to be using NW25, and this is the colour I kind of start with because it's lighter than my tan skin, but it's still got that warmth in it. So I try and apply that to the middle of my face. Next, I'm going to be using NW45, and this is my contour colour. And this is really kind of like gorgeous on darker skin tones, but I like it to mix because it gives that three-dimensional look. Grab my Artiste brush. By the way, if you see any clips in my hair, it's because I use a softer hairspray now, and I thought, one of my friends said your hair is like really full of products. I was like, no, it's actually not. It's just like a really strong hairspray. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna find a new way of setting my hair into place. So I'm using like a weaker hairspray, and I'm leaving it to kind of dry in clips, which is new. There are so many new foundations in the market out there, but I just want to know, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Studio Fix has been in my kit for 150 years, and on my skin, it makes my skin look flawless if it's dry or if it's oily. So But it rarely gets oily, especially in winter. I'm going to be using my Dermacolor concealer. It's the best concealer for me, and I particularly use one called D3W first because it's so peachy. It eliminates perfectly my under eye circles. Now, people always ask me the colours that you guys would use. Now, I can't tell because obviously I can't see what your under eyes look like, but for me, the one I just read out, my memory's like so shit. Whichever the one I just read out, that's the one. But on me, you can pretty much see it's a bit brighter, but it completely eliminates any dark circles for me. So I use it anywhere I want to really sculpt the face, and I bring the highlight down my nose. Just really subtly. And hopefully you can see it. It doesn't look as dramatic as my normal lights. Oh my god, my nose doesn't look like a completely different colour. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I've been trying for literally like a year to get my nose to be the same colour as the rest of my face because these bloody cameras, they do not pick up the subtlety of colours. Can you see now? She is in a different colour. Yeah. Going to be using Prep and Prime by MAC in Radiant Rose. It's way brighter, but it just enhances what we do. So I'm going to go down just the sides. Now with one of my brushes I've designed, I have a big update about my brand coming really soon because I have now got free of my disclosure thing that I had to sign a few years ago, which is why the whole... God, if you guys have like ever been experienced with lawsuits in your life, seriously, you do not expect things to kind of like come to be. I'm basically doing a big blog about it anyway, so now I can talk about my brushes again because there was this big fuck up. But it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Now my finishing touch with concealer is just to grab a concealer in the same colour as my base. So this is going to be DM1.5 apparently, and this is by Dermacolor again. And what I do is I layer this over the top of the brightness because I want there to be a little bit of brightness in certain areas, but I don't want it to be so artificial looking. And this just double layers the concealer in the same way that things like the Bobbi Brown Conceal and Correct does, and a lot of these two-tone products, you can pretty much see the under eyes and the shadow from them are gone. Okay, I'm going to be grabbing this Cozy Grey in my MAC palette. I've basically packed a lot of my kit stuff away. I've been using this palette again and again and again. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Now, the way I do my eyebrows as a boy was inspired by George Michael, so I started to kind of like play with the shape just to kind of like soften the edges and fill them in. Now let's go into the hairs of the brows. So I'm going to be using Illamasqua Skin Base in 18. I like this as a almost like a dip liner because when I set my foundation it sets in the same way like a powder would set a foundation, but also because it is so kind of wet that you can get a thinner hair stroke than if you were to use a dip brow, because they have a lot of things in to hold the hairs into place, whereas this kind of doesn't. So I just add it for volume really. Okay, now the brows are in, we're going to go in with Dermacolor Set Powder. This is in P4 and I use like more of a deeper kind of sandy colour than the translucent, because if you, this looks invisible in daylight, but when you actually use it under a flash it goes more tan, and it's so freaking cold you don't really need much, but you need to set that concealer early in the brows. Next I'm going to be using my Becca shimmering highlighter, and this is Smash to Smithereens in the colour Opal. Just to give it a little bit of zhuzh back into the skin. Right, I'm going to be using Kryolan Dual Finish. Now this is like a really heavy version of MAC Studio Fix powder. And I'm using the really pale colour they do. And I'm using this to shape my nose. So I paint on my nostril. That isn't actually the nostril, can I just point this out? It's actually called the alar. The nostril is the hole. Do this on the tip. It's funny because I was watching a video. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, write in the comments below if you remember when I was super duper pale and I was using that bright pink powder by Sheer Mirror, and I was saying to everyone, bake the sides of your nose because it will make your nose look skinny, and everyone was like, you don't contour the sides of your nose with a highlight, contour the sides of your nose with a contour. And I was like, bitches, everything I've put on my channel has become a trend. Let's just point this out, my dears. To pay attention to me and what I'm saying, because it will probably happen. I don't really want to bake this side of my nose because my nose, I want to shift over to that way. So it's already skinny on this side in real light. Now I'm going to be using that dual finish powder in this deeper colour. It doesn't have the label on. And then I just go under the jaw. Right, I'm going to be using that cozy. Ooh. I'm going to be using that cozy grey in the matte colour, just a touch, and I'm going to really saturate my brush with it. Now I'm going to go in the under eyes. Over eyes. Now I'm just going to go into the eyelashes with a little mascara. So let's finish with my favourite part of this video, which is actually, come back. Now, do you guys remember in the last few videos that I was asking you guys about if you preferred the colour of my tan, because I was using a brand new range? What am I saying? A brand new range. This is the range I've been using. It's Bondi Sands, and I've seen so many people use this, but I was blown like away, not only just by the fact that it comes out more of a golden natural colour, but the smell, it smells like kind of like a pina colada kind of smell. It's delicious. So I use this one once a week, which is the foam. I actually used this one last night. This is what I've got on today. So all this gorgeous natural glow is the spray, and literally this is what happens. And it comes out, oh my god, this smells so good. How gorgeous does it make your skin look? It's lovely. And you can get your back with this. And then the one that I like the best, because sometimes if I feel like my tan's kind of faded and I don't really think that it looks as great as it does, this tiny one is like a power version of the big one. So you just spritz your whole body, massage it in, and then voila, it's amazing. And then you wash it off literally in about 5 minutes and it gives you a tan in 5 minutes. It's sick. This is their brand new product, and this is the Liquid Gold Self-Tanning Dry Oil Coconut Scent. Oh my god. So 3 big spritz. I'm gonna just whoosh her in. Hello. And the dry oil doesn't actually wash, you don't need to wash it off, it's an instant one. It just gives you a little bit of moisture. Probably a bad idea to do this while I'm wearing like a greyish t-shirt, but come back. Now, one thing, if you have really sensitive skin and you don't react very well to tan, apply fake tan over a skincare oil, or even if you're on a cheap mission, you can actually use things like a coconut oil. So if you massage your skin with coconut oil first and then you spray the tan on the parts of your body that doesn't resist, or if it feels like it doesn't stick to that point of your skin, apply coconut oil before you apply the tan, and then leave it overnight and wash it off the next day, and it gives you a more even and hydrated finish. Sometimes tans can dry people well if they're super pale and super dry, so that's just one thing I wanted to add. Alright guys, well this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed that. Check out body stands in the links below, and I hope you like this kind of boyish inspired George Michael tribute. I'm glad you guys can put two and two together and see where I was getting my inspiration from for the last year with all the leather jackets and things like that and the quiffs. So I hope you like that one. R.I.P. George Michael, and we're going to have to do a Prince one next, and how we're going to do that, we're going to have a play. But yeah, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you in my next video.